You are now listening to the Verified Phenoms podcast. In this show, we speak with individuals who have come from all walks of life and have overcome the mental limitations of imposter syndrome, perfectionism, and overthinking. Get your notebook ready and stay tuned to learn how you can win your mental battles and become a verified phenom as well. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Verified Phenoms. We are always in the season of talking to real people that have gone through real challenges and overcome them, and they're also having real success. And today we have with us Catara Lane. She's a video editor and strategist. She runs a video production agency and has edited and produced over 100 videos for a variety of social media platforms. She's also created and edited 2 short film documentaries, which were shown at film festivals. Congratulations on that. That's fire. Since gaining her film and media arts degree, she loves helping online business owners create professional videos, build trust in their brand, and also get those important sales that we all need to pay our bills. She also has a membership program, where she teaches creators how to build a creator business on YouTube by monetizing before they hit 4,000 watch time hours. Welcome. How are you doing today?
I am doing good. Also tired, but okay.
Listen, I feel that after we finish with this episode, I'm going to go outside, get some sun, get some of that vitamin D, drink some water, get hydrated, and keep it pushing.
Yes, that all sounds really good.
So, question for you real quick. We heard within your bio that you have had the opportunity to do 2 documentaries, which is fire to me because I've had the opportunity to also do a documentary. And that is something that is not an easy task. Out of curiosity, how long were those documentaries?
Yeah, so they were short documentaries. So the first one, I think it was about 12 minutes or lower. And then the second one, I don't even remember if I'm being honest. But they were both under like 20 minutes. So they weren't long, you know?
It's not long in terms of watch time. But I see that, but in terms of, the production time, I know personally, I've done a documentary. I want to say it started off as like 40 minutes long. And then as soon as I finished it, they were like, hey, we need this down to 25. And I was like, hold on now. You want me to cut 15 minutes out? You're about to have me cut out a whole decade of information. So even though 12 to 20 minutes is still a pretty good time for a documentary, how was that process for you?
Okay, so starting footage, probably, like you said, was probably about an hour or like over it. I remember. So one of them was a documentary that I created while I was in school, like still in university, and that took probably about 2 months to film. The other one, that was the documentary that I created after school. That was sort of like independently filmed. That one took like months. Like I think I started while I was still in school and was still filming like probably like a half a year after I graduated. And then to like edit it, we did our own like, screening of it, and then like waiting for it. And like I only applied for it to be in like 8 different film festivals, and only one of them accepted it. So, that really made me happy.
Over a year of working on this, was that shooting and editing, just strictly shooting? How was that? How was that time spent?
It was mostly like filming.
Okay.
Editing, I usually get that done like once I actually sit down and start it. That actually that isn't like the longest part. She did come back with like a few revisions and like, a few things that she wouldn't like edit out because it was like on a very sensitive topic. So there were like a few things we had to take out, and I was like, wait, I think we should keep this in. So, it was a little bit back and forth. But yeah.
Were you the sole editor for this project?
Yes.
How many times did you go back and forth in your head about what to keep and what not to, what to put in, what to maybe add a little bit more, what to make a little bit more dramatic? Because documentaries, they're intense. It's a lot that goes into it. A lot of people don't realize. You're basically making a movie. at the end of the day. So how much of that back and forth did you do within that editing process mentally trying to get the project out?
Well, I feel like with editing for me, it's like it's kind of like I'm in my flow state. So as in terms of like what to put in, what to take out, it's just because since I'm doing the filming and I'm doing the editing, I'm most likely trying to like figure that out while I'm filming. Like I'm thinking in my head, like as I'm filming, okay, this is what I'm going to take out. This is what I'm putting in. So like by the time I sit there and I'm editing, it's just basically me trying to match whatever's on that computer to my head. So actually, I didn't have enough B-roll footage. That was my problem with that project. So I'm like, okay, how can we get more footage? So I was like basically going on like her Instagram page and like looking at old videos that she had, which she's in, I guess you could call her like a content creator. So she had a lot of footage and stuff that I could like take and like add into it. Yeah.
That's fire. How do you find it difficult to reach that flow state sometimes?
No.
Why not? That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Why not?
No, I mean, I don't think I really in terms of like creativity with like my editing, I feel like me personally, I don't overthink it too much. I'm probably like a more simplistic video editor, so it's like I focus more on like the storytelling than like the actual like effects and stuff that's in there. So what's important to me is like what actually, if the video actually makes sense or not. And if it's telling a story, that's the part to me that's like, that I'm really focused on. So the other parts, it's just like, okay, this is not as important to me. Because I know if you hook somebody and you got their attention and they're listening to the story, all that other stuff doesn't matter.
True. In the world of content creation, we're seeing now, people are busting out videos, content very quickly. And with what you're saying, you like to go more on the simplistic side. You just really want to focus on the story and the hook. Were you always that way when it came to your video editing, your shooting? Or were you once like, oh, I want to go over the top. I want to have all these different type of edits and whatnot. And then one day you're like, this is taking too much time.
No, I was always like that. And I think it's because me personally, I have the film background. I went to like film school,
Nice.
so they were focused on making movies. I'm like, I don't care about that. And like while I was in school doing that, I was like working with like business owners and stuff like that. So the fact that I have that film background, it's just kind of, I think that's what kind of helped with like the editing. Because in movies and stuff, there's no effects going around and all this other stuff. It's just a movie and you're just watching it. And you're just, putting the footage together. It's not all that other stuff. But it does make sense though with movies. It has to have storytelling elements. So I think I just automatically brought that into like what I do.
Okay. Well, let's touch on that real quick, the film background. So what drove you to want to study film in college?
It was actually, I want to say it was a lucky mistake.
A lucky mistake. Okay.
So I wasn't originally going to go to film school. I was originally actually an art major. I knew I wanted to do something creative. So I was originally an art major. I think I was trying to go more for like graphic design. But the first school that I went to was like, it was what, 2 hours away, 2.5 hours away from my house in the middle of the mountains. And I was like, this sucks. So I stayed there for a year, really enjoyed it. But I don't think I was quite ready to be away from home just yet. And I think I missed my family. They only visited me like once a month. I was like, this is horrible. And I was like 18 years old. And I never left the house before that. So I was like, okay, I think I'm coming back home. So I came back home. I applied to like Temple University. It's a university in my city. And I applied, but I didn't get into their art program, but they accepted me into the school.
A win is a win.
That's what I said. And I was like, whatever. So I was like, okay, it says film and media arts. This sounds like it's something creative. So I guess I'll just go over there.
So with going to or looking to go into graphic design originally, right? Arts, and then of course navigating towards film. I know you've heard it. I know you've heard it before when people are like, don't go into film, don't go into art. Their majors don't make any listen, I know you've heard it. We've all heard it. Even if you aren't that type of major, we've all heard it. Mentally, how did you deal with that, and how did you get over it? Because obviously you're thriving now, right, within the industry. So you didn't let none of that shake you. So how did you prepare yourself if you knew that was going to come? And then how did you deal with it once you got it?
I feel like, honestly, I feel like I did not worry about it. I mean, art majors, at the time, I really wasn't thinking about sort of like what I was going to do after I graduated. I was just like, honestly, I didn't even know I was going to college at first. I don't think so. I was like really kind of like pushed to go to college because, like, I guess the mentors that I had at the time, they're like, girl, what, like, you have to make a decision, like, and you're kind of too smart to like not go. So they kind of like push me into the direction, but I just knew that I wanted to do something really creative. And then as time like sort of progressed, that's kind of how I figured out like what I wanted to do. As you can see, I did not know. I was like, I don't care where I'm at. I just know I need to finish this degree. That's that's what I thought. I was like, I need to get out of here.
So, oh, go ahead.
But also while I was like in school, the second time in film school, I also had like business mentors. So freelancing while I was in school. I got to work with some really cool business mentors, and then I kind of dove into the online business space. And that's how I started developing a business mentality instead of like a creator mentality. So that's how I kind of got over that.
Let's touch on that real quick. Because a lot of creatives, they really want to, get their art out, right? I'm using art as a broad sense because art can mean video editing, the storytelling aspect. A speaker could have art by the way they articulate and craft their words. Art could be music, right? It can be anything, right? But artists, creatives, they don't always have the business mindset when it comes to their craft. So how did you realize that you didn't have that business mindset, and how were you able to make that switch of the lanes? Like, you know what? I have a craft, but I also understand that there's a strategic way to get paid from it.
Yeah. Well, I know when I first started, like there was a lot of advice out there that was like, you have to work for free first, or like you should work for free, or something to that tune of effect. I did like one free project with this clothing brand in my city, and I was like, never again. And then I realized, I'm like, okay, these people are coming to me because I have a skill that they don't have. So if they don't have it, they can't necessarily devalue it because you don't know how to do it. That's why you're asking me to do it. I have the skills. I have the tools to do it. That's why you're asking me. And then I sort of like got online courses. And again, those business mentors sort of like really helped because my mentor, she was actually a makeup artist. So a different type of creative. So they're like, yeah, girl, you should be getting paid and you should be charging more for what you're doing. So yeah.
How was the relationship having a mentor that was in a different industry for you? Because a lot of people are like, oh, well, I want to find strictly a video editor mentor or maybe like a speaking mentor. But for you, she is, of course, within the arts, but it's not the same industry. So how was that relationship for you? One, to find her, and two, to be able to continuously gain value from her, even though she was in a different industry?
That's a good question. I mean, well, even though she was in a different industry, like the basics of like business stuff kind of still applied to me. So she really helped me like when I first got started, like get clear on like who I was talking to. Cause she had a business mentorship program. So it wasn't just me, it was multiple
Okay.
other so help me with the basics with like setting up an LLC, getting a business bank account, who you're talking to. When I was in school and I was trying to figure out, okay, am I going to quit this job? Am I going to take this other job offer that somebody else offered me? Or am I going to sit here and figure out how to do it on my own? She sat me down, made me write out a pros and cons list, had me talk to a financial advisor to like get my finances together and like figure out like, okay, this is how you budget so you don't go broke and not sit around here with no money.
Right.
So like the basic business concepts, she's like really helped me with. And like, yeah, I appreciate it so much.
What was one of the biggest things you picked up from her?
The biggest thing that she's done for me personally was tell me a financial advisor to go to get my finances together. Because without that, I probably would have been out of business within the first year because I wasn't really good at managing money. I didn't know what was coming in, didn't know what was going out, and I feel like I'm getting a little bad with it. But I still know the basis of okay, this is the amount of money I need to keep in my account this month to pay my bills, and then I can go from there.
Oh, listen, I came in front. I'm bad with money. Listen, I get money coming in and I'm spending it. I'm catching a flight. I'm catching a train ticket. I'm going to a conference. I'm eating. I'm doing, I'm doing something with the money.
It's going right back out, but I know what I need to keep in there to keep everything flowing for the next month. Okay.
Oh man, that's funny. That's fun. But that's so important though. That's so important, especially as creatives. We have to be able to step onto that business aspect, that business mindset when it comes to everything. So you haven't had a job since the one that you were just speaking of, right?
No, that was like
How
3
many
years
years
ago.
ago was that?
It's like 3 years ago.
3 years ago. That's fire. So you've been full-time entrepreneur ever since then. How has that journey been? Let's just take us through real quick how that journey's been ever since you took that leap of faith all the way up until now.
Well, journey in terms of what? That's a very broad question.
Okay, here we go. So you take the leap of faith. You're a full-time entrepreneur, right? So you start. Was it rainbows and sunshine in the beginning? Did you have clients lined up? Did you have like 10 clients? Did you had to go out to like boots to ground? Like when I first started, I was literally going business to business on foot, knocking on their doors saying, "Hey, I'm a videographer. Do you need a video shot and edit it?" Like how was it in the beginning for you? Did you ever have doubts about it? And where are you now? We hear where you are now. So essentially, I want to know, how did you get there?
Yeah. So when I first started, when I first was thinking about doing it, thinking about taking that leap, it caused a lot of anxiety, a lot of uncertainty. That was probably the first time where I was my anxiety was really bad because it was so uncertain. And then I still decided to do it, of course, but right before I quit my job, right before I decided to quit my job, I got a really big retainer contract. It was it's like 2000, and I had a few other clients too, but this specific one, it was like 2000, and it was with a nonprofit for the next 4 months. That was more than I was getting paid with my job at the time, on top of the other projects that I was doing. So I was like, you know what? That's good enough for me. I'm gonna go ahead and take that leap. So we were doing that, of course, and then it's okay. So it's the constant chase of where do I find clients, right?
Mm-hmm.
So word of mouth was really big for me when I first started. So I had built up a lot of connections, before I left. So other people that I was working with, um, yeah, social media. I would find people on social media that needed help in Facebook groups. I did a little bit of Upwork. It's not a main thing, but you can find some stuff on there if you really look. You gotta take some time, like everything. It was a part probably last 2 years, a big source of my income was actually wedding videography.
Mm-hmm.
So I had some of my own clients, and then I signed with a wedding production agency. So they would just send me work, constant work, $50 or $90 per hour, which and if I've done over probably 100 weddings within those 2 years. But then I realized, doing all of this stuff, my clients working those weddings 2 to 3 times a week, driving 2 hours there,
2 to 3 times a week. Oh, you
two
were
hours
working.
2 hours back, 8 to 10 hours on your feet, 2 to 3 times a week with other projects on the side. It got to a point where just last year, just last year, I got completely burnt out, and I didn't know. I had to go to a therapist. I'm like, bro, I'll keep crying. What's wrong with me? he gave me the test, and he's like, okay, girl, you are on the cusp of PTSD. You have depression
Mm-hmm.
and you have anxiety. I was like, okay. Didn't know what none of them words meant. He had to re-explain my feelings to me. I'm like, okay, so we worked that out. Then another thing happened last year where I got a concussion. I was, like what, in November or October, and then
Doing what?
I got hit from the back. I was at the stop sign.
Were you
It wasn't.
scrapping? Oh, you. But you were fighting somebody. It was a car accident. Okay, that's not better, but it's better.
Yeah.
Hope you collected a check from that.
Not yet, but
Gotta collect that check.
But after that incident happened, it was like, okay, I can't rely on this wedding income source. Also, I don't want to really do it because I'm really freaking tired right now. So it's like I have to find a way for me to get my own clients. Like that's what I originally wanted to do. Wanted to work with business owners. I need to figure out a way to do that. So also last year I had invested in like a business and YouTube coaching program. So while I was doing all that weddings and all the other stuff, I was also in the program the whole time and I was building up my YouTube channel. In January, one of the videos went viral and that really helped me like gain like some clients back. So now I have like I have my own list of clients that come directly to me for like video editing, video strategy. And now I use the skills that I have on YouTube and I help other people to start getting their videos up and such. So yeah, that's how that journey's been.
I remember when that video went viral. Seeing you post about it and seeing it on your YouTube page. If I'm not mistaken, that was when you were doing the post a video every day on YouTube challenge, correct?
Yes.
All right. So I want to talk about that real quick. When it comes to creators, a lot of times we can be intimidated or scared to put our content out there. But you are doing this every single day. How are you able to produce content that frequently? Because I know as a video editor, that takes time. Like that's an 8-hour shift every single day, bare minimum. But how are you able to produce the content every single day, but also produce it in the way that you're able to constantly do it every single day and not worry about the quality of it? Does this go back to what you were saying earlier? Like you just focus on the simple storytelling aspect of the content and not worrying about the effects and all that so you can get out the quality message essentially on YouTube?
Yeah, so I had like a basis because I already had the strategy for YouTube. So I'm like, okay. And I also had like a goal. So I didn't really have probably that many videos up on YouTube. I already had like 20 videos up at the time before I started. So I'm like, okay, I want to convert my YouTube channel into like a sales page. So I noticed that a lot of business owners, they were talking about hiring a video editor, but I'm like, there's no video editors on YouTube talking about how to hire a video. I'm like, why are there no video editors talking about how to hire a video editor? Because we are the ones that's being hired. We have a voice and a say in that too.
Facts.
So I'm like, okay, this is some content. There's a content gap. So I need to do this. So it's like frequently asked questions, So it's like, I know this because I've been doing it for a while. It wasn't hard to create these things because I do it every day. And it's like, okay, don't really necessarily focus on the graphics and stuff. Just, these are like short 3 to 5, sometimes 7-minute videos. And then I wanted to like also repurpose it to my other social media platforms. And I also wanted to reactivate my email list because I never barely like really send them emails. So I was like, this is the way I'm going to reactivate it. I'm just going to email them about the YouTube videos. And it did work. And then the 21st video that I posted about my analytics and stuff and how I was doing it for those 20 days, that is the one that went viral. Not the videos that I was posting, that one. The one that I posted afterwards. Yeah.
So what was the page before you started realizing you want to turn it into a sales pitch?
So it was just, it was a normal YouTube channel.
What is a normal YouTube channel? Were you doing pranks?
It was it was the series that I was doing before, but I realized that you can put playlists on your channel. So in converting it into a sales channel, I'm meaning like middle, top, and bottom funnel content where people can like sort of like do a journey on my channel. So the first playlist that you see is outsourcing to a video editor masterclass. And then the last ones, it's like a how to work with me section where I have my VSLs down there where it's like, okay, there's like my video strategy services. There's like, I think my video editing course. And there's also like, what is it? My membership program videos down there. So it's specific things that you can like work with me with. And then like my links are like all over the place on my YouTube channel. So it's not really hard for somebody to get in contact with me basically.
So for someone listening to this right now that may be a videographer, they're a video editor, but maybe they don't understand the top down aspect of the funnel, can you just dive a little bit deeper into that real quick?
Okay, so top, middle, and like bottom of the funnel content. It's like basically how the customer goes into the journey with you and like how they like find you. So like top of funnel, that's like when they first get aware with you. So they found you, they're like, okay, here's this person. And as they go deeper into the funnel, that's sort of like, okay, bottom of the funnel, or like, wait, I'm explaining how the funnel works, but like, yeah, basically it's how the customer moves through the journey with you.
Gotcha.
Like,
Okay.
I'm still kind of, doing these things and figuring out these things too. So yeah.
All good. I love talking funnels. I don't know if you know this or many people know this, even my listeners know this, but I'm a college instructor. And so as a college instructor, the topic that I actually teach is digital marketing.
Wow.
And so one of the things I'm always end up breaking down to my students is what is a funnel, the awareness stage, the consideration stage, and of course at the end, the conversion stage. And one thing I always like to relate it to is something that I hope everyone can relate to. If you're ever driving down the street and you see somebody with the sign, like flipping the sign on this, like, hey, we have a sale going on. That's the awareness stage of your funnel. Like now you're aware that there's a sale going on somewhere. And then once you pull over to the parking lot and you walk into the store, that is the consideration stage. And this is the stage where a lot of people get in trouble, right? You're walking around, you really have no intention, but you just start touching everything. Maybe if we're talking digitally, you're on somebody's website, you're just scrolling, you start adding things to your cart, all that type of stuff. And then when you finally click purchase or you finally go to that cash register, that's the conversion stage. And that's like the most basic part of the funnel. But in reality, I will argue to a lot of people that the funnel goes deeper than that because once you get the sale, especially depending on the business that you're in, even like, within your industry as a video editor, you want to have follow-ups. You want to make sure that you can put this person on retainer because as you saw with the nonprofit, when you got that 4-month retainer and you were like, hold on now, you paying me a nice little chunk of change. You want to keep that coming back. You don't want it to be a one and done type of thing. So with your YouTube channel, you've been able to build out that funnel and you're start to build this clientele list. How are you making sure that these people, your clients, are on retainer?
So we are currently still figuring that out in the business. So it's like,
Okay.
okay, so it's like here's the thing about entrepreneurship. Like when you first get started, like everyone tells you to like sort of like niche down and stuff. But I've personally made like almost 6 figures in the last few years of my business by not niching down and like just by doing like one-off projects. And there's some retainers here and it's like a whole bunch of other projects. But right now, this is when I'm actually getting into my stage where I'm like niching down on my projects. So currently doing like a full little mini rebrand, not really on like social media side, but like how I do my services. So right now I'm creating like a video editing subscription. And then there's also going to be like my video strategy services. And that will be like the retainer and retainer services that I can keep people sort of like retained because personally I'm getting tired of the one-off work and sending out 10 million invoices every week.
I can understand that. So
Yeah.
with a person that's trying to, I know you say it's not necessarily rebranding, but have you ever rebranded before?
I would say probably in the beginning when I got really clear on like my colors and my logo and like that stuff, that was sort of like a visual rebrand. So I got logo, got a new brand board, and I've been using it ever since. Shout out to my graphic designer. She is amazing.
So, okay, let's go with this then. Let's just say the reconstruction of everything that you're going through, you're processing right now, right? For someone that is listening to this and they are maybe really married to their own, the structure that they currently have, what advice would you give to them about being open-minded about the reconstruction of their model that they have existing right now?
I mean, honestly, it depends on like what sort of like, what is the word? I want to say what's kind of like, what is the word? Crap. The truck outside.
You said there's the truck outside?
Yeah, I heard truck outside. But it kind of, what's crap? What is the word? I can't think of
All right,
it.
how about let's do this. What advice would you give yourself from the beginning? Let's go with that.
Um, I don't know.
Just run with it.
Literally just take it one step at a time. That's what I can say.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's maybe don't worry about that when you're first getting started, but
Mm-hmm.
when you are ready, because you're gonna have to test out the market. You're gonna have to see what you like to do. What people are asking for. Because if I just did maybe like a video editing subscription, I mean, I thought I was going to get rich off of video editing, but what I'm realizing is that you can't necessarily get rich off of like one skill. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to skill stack. So what that is like stacking multiple skills with each other. So video editing might not take me there, but video editing, recording, like putting all my skills together, social media management, YouTube strategy, those are the high ticket offers that I can really charge a lot for.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you're going to have to like skill stack. You're going to have to build up to the point where you're actually like charging these big retainers and like building them out. So take your time with it.
Are there any skills that you're still looking to add to your arsenal right now? Or that you know you need to add in the future?
Probably right now, I feel like I could always get better at selling, like my selling systems and automations. Oh my gosh, they make me want to throw my computer across the room. Automations for my funnels, selling, but again, that's stuff that, you probably don't. Oh yeah, and also like when you're first starting, you're gonna definitely like wanna hone your selling skills because that's really important. Because how are you supposed to sell yourself if you can't figure out how to do that? So that's just
Hey,
important as marketing. And marketing and selling is two different things. You have to keep that in mind.
yes, it is. Marketing and selling are two different things. And one thing I try to tell creatives, or creators and creatives, whenever I'm talking to them, is that whether or not you like it, you need to learn sales. Everybody, in my opinion, needs to learn sales, even if
Yeah.
you're not an entrepreneur, because let's just say if you're going out to apply for a job, you need to sell yourself in the interview. And the way that you sell yourself in an interview to a recruiter or a hiring manager is the same concept of you selling your services to someone else or selling your product to someone else. So when you started to, of course, sell your services with more intention, let's say with that, like you started to sell with more intention because you're like, okay, I got to make this money because I got to eat. I'm serious. Listen, like for some creators, they're like, you know what? If I make some money, it's cool. If I don't, it's cool. But I'm like, you know what? I got an appetite. I'm over here ordering the 30 count nugget from Chick-fil-A, so I got to eat. So when you start doing this with a little bit more intention, what were some of the sales tactics that you had to pick up that made a difference for you?
Okay, so definitely like not keeping them on the call for too long, but not keeping it too short. Being able to listen to actually what they want so you can build out custom pack. Like really listen to what they want. Ask them like, okay, because most likely they're gonna be shopping around. You're not the first person they talk to. You're not the first person that they looked at. So really on that call, ask them multiple questions that's gonna help you create the best package for them. So like ask them, have they worked with like any other people in your field, or are you the first person that they work with? That's going to give you like a lot of information on what the other person did wrong and how you're going to be able to tell them that you're not going to do that thing, or how you can relate to that. So listening is a really big one. When you're sending a proposal, don't just send it to their email, because you're not going to be, I mean, they can just say, no, I don't want it. Have them book another call before they get off the first call with you, because, that way it makes it less awkward, and you can show them the proposal and you can kind of counteract what they're going to say, like right there in real time. Because if you send it through email, it's a little awkward to do that over email and go back and forth with somebody. But I know for me personally, I'm a talker, so I need to get them back on that call so I can convince them that I'm the person that they need to work with, or that I can remove something and, sort of make the price fit to what they need,
Okay. Okay. I like that. That's what's up. That's dope. That's dope. I have a couple more things I want to touch on that you've talked about before we head out today.
Yeah.
You touched on burning out when you were in the trenches with weddings, in the trenches, man. And if I remember correctly, you said that you didn't realize that you were burning out. And a lot of people don't realize that either. They just may think that they're tired. That's it. They're just tired and they need sleep. Or maybe they need to eat a little bit more. Maybe they need a vacation. But in reality, a 1 week vacation not going to do it. And 2 nights of good sleep not going to do it. So for you, what was it that made you realize, especially after you talking to, I think you said your therapist was like, you know what? I am on the verge of being burnt out and something needs to change now.
Yeah, well, one thing was I was like a lot more snappier towards my family members, a lot more impatient. Like, if you know me, I'm probably like, for the most part, pretty calm, pretty short, like pretty level headed. But I was like a little bit more snappier than normal. I was not calm at all. Probably cursed out my family a few times, actually, because they was just bothering me.
Were y'all
So
playing
it's like,
spades at least?
no, they were getting on my nerves.
Oh, okay. If you were playing spades, you could have played that off.
Yeah, but it was noticeable too. Like I was crying as well. I'm not. Well, I can say I'm a crier now, but before then, I was not. Like, I was like, bro, what am I crying, and you don't even know why you're crying, and it's like, and then also sleep. It's like no amount of sleep is gonna be able to like help you get back, and you're not feeling like yourself. That's the biggest thing. I really just did not feel like myself at the time. And that's when I knew that I needed to get some help, because, yeah, just wasn't feeling like myself.
What advice would you give to someone so they're not even put in that situation on being on the verge of burning out?
Okay. Honestly, I can say with the work that creators, entrepreneurs do, I'm not going to say that it's kind of unavoidable, or honestly, I don't have the answer to that, because with the work we do, especially, it's really hard, especially when you're like, you don't really have anybody, you're kind of like doing it by yourself. And it's like, yeah, it's like, it's going to be really hard not to do that. So you might actually kind of have to go through that in order to know, like, how far you actually can like push yourself, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
So, but what I can say, get a full, I'm not one of the type of people where I'm like, you have to stay up all night to get this client work done. Like, get your full 8 hours of sleep, drink some water, go take a walk, little things like that, is what I've always sort of like incorporated and did, especially the walks in the morning, 30-minute walks. I feel like that's really helped with my mental health over the last year. Little things such as a 30-minute walk can really help out your day.
That is facts. For me, it's the gym. Sometimes I also go on a walk. Yesterday, I took maybe like a 1 mile walk around the my complex. I was just like, ooh, today's a good day. A butterfly flew in my window. I was like, I'm gonna knock it out the park today. It's gonna be amazing. But yeah, just the little things like that. I can definitely agree with you on that. Can definitely go a long way for your not just your mental health, but also physical health as well. So wrapping up here today, I do have one question that I do always love to ask everybody, just to see everyone's different perspectives. Is what would you say success was to you 5 years ago, and what is success to you now?
Well, success to me has always sort of been like to be able to do what you want whenever you want, however you want to do it at any given time, and you're able to afford that.
All right, heard. Catch that flight. That's what that is for me. I'm trying to catch a flight and be on someone's island eating some grapes or something. So wrapping up here today, how can people find you and how can they support you?
Yes, so you can find me on YouTube at Catara Lane, so CATARALANE, or you can follow me on Instagram, Catara Lane, or my business page, CLX Content.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Well, y'all, this has been another amazing episode. She dropped so many gems today. Make sure you share it out with of course, any creatives, any video editors, videographers, photographers, photo editors that you know that can gain value from this episode as well. And we will catch y'all on the very next episode. See ya.
Nice.